Love, love, and third eye vibrations. What is going on with y'all, man? Hey, welcome to number 11 of how to maintain a free mind in a controlled society. This is going to be an important video. In this video, I'm going to go over Law 4 of the Kabbalion, which will be the law of polarity. Very, very, very important law for y'all to understand for our purposes watching this video, especially listening to somebody like me. A lot of my information, a lot of what I present, and a lot of what I say is probably controversial. Controversial. Do people say that with a SH? Controversial, meaning coming face to face with adversary, coming face to face with something that you may not like to hear or want to believe or want to accept. And that's okay. But a lot of the information that I study, a lot of the things that I have ran and filtered through the left-hand path, that I've ran and filtered through spirituality, that I've ran and filtered through objective law and truth and knowledge, it lines up. But on the other half of it all, I know it can all be debated. Someone could argue it, someone could question it, someone could say, nah, he's wrong, he's off, that's not true, none of that is real, don't listen to it, etc., etc. So when we look into Law 4 of the Kabbalion, the law of polarity, it tells us there's two poles to everything, every single thing in life. An opposite side, an opposite view, an opposite perspective. But before we get into all of that, because I actually got my old one that I'm going to teach out of, I actually kind of want to repair it a little bit, armor it up, but many highlights, many annotations, connotations, depictions, and descriptions for us to look into. Boom. A few things I want to say to y'all. If y'all ever watching any of these videos, any of these how to maintain a free mind in a controlled society, if I'm ever starting off slow, if my voice is lazy, if my tone and vibration is extremely mellow, feel free to skip to the middle or end of the video, because it's really just a wide array of energy and information throughout. But the basis of it all is freeing your mind and maintaining that sense of freedom. Practices and rituals and things that you can do to stay on the frequency and to stay on your desired energy, on your desired pole, on the scale of emotions. Boom. And with that being said, yeah, I could sometimes have a very lazy or laissez-faire attitude toward life, and that's okay, because y'all will have it too if y'all knew everything that I know. But at the same time, I'm well aware that me being lazy and lazy on camera, whatever, is not gonna manifest a bunch of engaging, come here, watch this, entertaining shit, especially even what I'm talking about. So I guess I'm just giving y'all the energy of how to vibe with these particular videos and how to flow with me if you want to actually extract the best that you can from my content. Because the more you try to control things that you cannot control, it's like fighting against yourself. It's automatic self-sabotage. So to understand, of course, that you can't control things that are outside of you to a degree. You can influence and inspire things, but to fully control, no. And that is true, because this society is just influenced and inspired and programmed. But the people that tell other people what to do, they're not as responsible as the people that actually do it. You get what I'm saying? So the people that actually do the things, the actual order followers, quote unquote, military and police, really are the main individuals that enforce laws on people that people above them tell them that they have the right to do. I don't know why I even went off into that tangent. But yes, the society is controlled, but at the same time, you only way you can actually control another person is to physically grab them and do something with them. But to just tell them, that's influencing and inspiring and programming them to be away. But I'm gonna try to stay far away from physical human talk and stay on this. Boom. The great fourth Hermetic principle, the principle of polarity, embodies the truth that all manifested things have two sides, two aspects, two poles, a pair of opposites, with manifold degrees between two extremes. The old paradoxes which have ever perplexed the mind of men are explained by an understanding of this principle. Again, what is a paradox? Something that is seemingly contradictory, seemingly unable to understand or grasp or get. It seems like it just doesn't make sense. But in reality, it does. In reality, there's a lot underneath it. There's a lot manifested. There's a lot of layers and time and whatever else that has made that thing manifest to what it is that you see today. Man has always recognized something akin to this principle and has endeavored to express it by such sayings, maxims, and aphorisms as the following. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half truths. Every truth is half false. There are two sides to everything. There is a reverse side to every shield. So, yeah, I've been coming to that a lot in my own thoughts. The idea that all truths are but half truths. And I know it to be fact from understanding this and reading this 4 years ago. But the more you learn and see and compare and judge and speak and open yourself up and open your mind up to others, the more you be yourself, rather in person or on the internet, you open yourself and your ideas and your beliefs and your words up to criticism. So you simply have to understand that what you know to be true, what you have come to believe in your mind, another person's perception of what they have agreed to in their mind, it is just as true and real in their reality. It is just as true and real in their reality. So if a person has convinced themselves that Jesus once walked the earth and died for our sins, and we have to pray and worship him and bow down on our knees every night to get into heaven, and they do that and they live by those laws and commandments, that's real to them. That's their game. But if you think that Jesus and God never existed and you're an atheist, you believe that we live in a solar system, planets going around a star or going around the sun, millions of miles per hour and chaotic, and you believe that that happened from the Big Bang Theory, that is your reality. I'm not going to debate you and try to prove to you that what I believe is true, but that is what 90% of people on this planet do, okay? Debating and trying to prove to you that what they believe, what they see in their mind, what they know to be fact and their reality is true. When you can be seeing and hearing a total different frame of reference, talking point of view, yet you still deny it, yet you choose to cling on to what you believe. It is what it is, but this is why you don't debate people, because the mental programming, the subconscious programming, and the belief systems is strong and it's deeply rooted in people's DNA and their subconscious, okay? But again, all of these paradoxes, all of these contradictory ways of being, all of these whatever can be reconciled once you get to the bottom of what a person knows and understands and how they've lived their life and how they vote and what religion they subscribe to and what they eat for dinner and et cetera, et cetera. The Satanists that do control the world, they have psychological profiles of people, understanding of a person's preferences, habits, likes, and dislikes. They got access to our phones and everything else. So that should give you more evidence to, maybe not even evidence, but more push to not give a fuck and not be afraid, understanding the degree to which this society is controlled. Of course, people are just people and doing things and living and vibrating amongst themselves, and a lot of people are carefree in the first place. But once you get information and knowledge, and once you start to climb the ladder, it can make you very paranoid. It can make you very skeptical. A lot of things can happen to you energetically. It can fuck up your heart. It can fuck up how you see people. It can fuck up how you see the world once you see how brainwashed and manipulated most people are. But it should make you give less of a fuck by knowing exactly how deep and constructed in this matrix is, and to free yourself from it, because that's the only way to do it. It's the only way to live in the present moment and to live without fear. You know, I would like to be an example of that. With all of the shit that I've given to y'all on camera, I would assume my content is shadow banned, but I wouldn't even want to bring that into my reality, because I don't post with the consistency of somebody that's just fully trying to grow on YouTube. But at the same time, if I was them, I would shadow ban me. All right, let's get more into it, y'all. The Hermetic teachings are to the effect that the difference between things seemingly diametrically opposed to each other is merely a matter of degree. Let me take, for example, my example of the ego and the spirit. A person's ego, you can see it and you can observe them and be like, damn, that egotistical motherfucker. He think he knows everything. He's so fucking manly and blah, blah, blah. And you are probably neglecting the fact that this individual has a strict discipline and spiritual practices that keep him on that frequency. And in the middle point, it's probably some calmness and some peace and some self-control and self-regulation that you may lack. Projecting person, but that's okay, because again, rather you are a sheep or a wolf in sheep's clothing or a sheep in wolf's clothing, this shit right here is gonna get your third eye open. I promise that. It'll get your third eye open. It'll get you to understand and see through everything and everyone. See the unity in all, and see the humanness, the beast in awe, not the fucking imaginative fantasy purity that people portray in this world. It teaches that the pair of opposites may be reconciled, and that the thesis and antithesis are identical in nature, but different in degree. That the universal reconciliation of opposites is affected by a recognition of this principle of polarity. The teachers claim that the illustrations of this principle may be had on every hand, and from an examination into the real nature of anything. I'm gonna continue reading. They begin by showing that spirit and matter are but two poles of the same thing, the intermediate planes being merely a degree of vibration. That's worth describing. So you have to understand, y'all. Very happy I thought of this. I wrote in this book, wrote some notes some months ago, and I was deeply going in on the laws of polarity, understanding the poles, the spectrums, and the scales, how I like to call them. And I'm gonna describe to y'all how you should see it, how you should look at it to understand at least this. And I'll display this to y'all to keep y'all attention. So boom, think that you can see this. Let's see if I can read it backwards. I can't really read it backwards, but I'm going to display it right here for y'all to see. I actually have this posted in my highlights somewhere on my Instagram. But here you see the scales of emotions. You see the highest emotions up here, I believe, joy, freedom, love. You have the lowest emotions down here, shame, guilt, fear. And down there you do have suicide, I believe. And of course you have neutral, a middle point. This is the scale of emotions, right? Not to surprise y'all by going from gym fit to outfit, but I wanted to keep that video short. I cut it off after I started talking some more because I have to be somewhere, so apologies for that because I end up scheduling something to do when I want to be talking to you, and that's not very responsible of me. But I will tell y'all about the scales and the poles and the spectrums. That was the word that I couldn't think of, but I have it in my phone. I wrote it down. And again, law of polarity. There's a middle point, there's a balance, there's extreme on the negative end, there's an extreme on the positive end, there's an extreme in mass, size. The sharper something can get, the smaller something can get, the duller that something is. The harder something is, all the way to diamond, to the softness of a feather, then to the middle point of something squishy. Maybe that's human flesh. Boom. Scales and poles. Everything that you can observe, you can look at, you can analyze and put it on a scale or a pole. Scale, horizontal, pole, vertical. Spectrums and pendulums. So when you think of a spectrum, you think of it on a scale. On a horizontal, you got the higher spectrum of light, you got the low spectrum of light, infrared, blue ray, this, that, the other. And a pendulum, of course, this is more so the law of rhythm, but it goes into the law of polarity as well, because on the pendulum of your emotions, your anger from some misfortunate event in your day, spilling coffee on yourself while you're driving, is mediated once you get to work and settle in, and then once you get home and swing to the opposite polarity of seeing your loved one, happiness, joy, peace, love, freedom, neutralize when you go to sleep, and then a swing of the pole of emotions, right? It's like a pendulum swing. But to neutralize yourself in that middle point of emotions benefits you. Frequencies changed by turning the degree, volume, or vibration along the spectrum. The frequency is changed by turning the degree, volume, or vibration. I don't know why the fuck I can't say volume and vibration in a sequential fashion along the spectrum. So if you want to change your emotional state, you tune in to the degree or the vibration of it. That's all you're doing, is looking at it like that, or turning up the volume of your emotions to some good emotions by thinking happy thoughts, or some motivated, confident, competitive emotions by thinking, oh, this nigga think he better than me? Fuck that. Boom. Sleeping is opposite to running. What would be in the middle point of that? Standing, ready to walk. Fear is opposite of love. What would be the middle point of that? Contentment or unbiasedness. Statist, someone that believes in the state, that believes in government, that believes in the system, is opposite to an anarchist. The middle point of that, probably a child, someone that's unaware but just following, just brainwashed, just programmed. Ignorance is opposite to knowledge. What would be the middle of that? Nescience. Nescience. No science. Without science, without the information. Of course, we do not live in a nescient society because we have cell phones. A lot of information that we could have. Again, I urge y'all to utilize your notes. Such a powerful thing to have in your life. Student is opposite of teacher. I'm only giving you guys poles and spectrums, you know what I'm saying? Ways to look at the polar opposite of a thing. And these are just ones that I be coming up with in my head and I list in my phone. I ain't gonna go over all of them. Actually, yes, I will. Discipline, laziness, birth, death, torture, pleasure. The middle point of that, nobody's fucking with you. You got thought, energy, and matter. First it's a thought, then more energy is generated, and it becomes a little bit more. Then it manifests into the 3D reality. Thought, energy, matter. Self-deprivation. People that talk low on themselves, people that have self-loathing energy, to healthy ego and sense of self, to self-aggrandizement. Someone that has a high sense of self and pride in their ability or who they are or what they are. Self-aggrandizement. Active and passive. Receptive. Giving. Tattoo. Bare skin. Religionist. A person that follows a religion, believes in something above them. To an atheist. I believe the middle point of that would be an agnostic. Believing that there is a creator, but we just don't know. Or believe in something, but we don't know, and it can't be known. An idealist, someone who is very ideal in their thoughts and their mind. They may live in their own world, have their own crazy ideas, versus someone that is cynical, someone that is just, no, that can't happen, that's impossible. I have negative emotions, so I'm gonna give it to your ideas too. Envy and props. There we go. So those are just some scales that I made, some poles and scales for you to look at. Again, the way I see it in my mind, everything is just on different degrees and tuning up and vibration in a pole here. This person's mind, this object is on a pole to this, and there's a vibration in the scale. And is it natural or is it synthetic? Did it come from the mind of God? Did it come from man? Is it this? Is it that? Is it alive? Is it dead? Is it sharp? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it on the side of religion? Is it on the side of God? Is it on the side of nature? Is it on the side of man? Is it expensive? Is it cheap? Does it taste good? Is it spicy? Is it sweet? Is it vegetable? Is it meat? Is it simmering tension to skeet? All right, man. I'm done with y'all. I'm about to go to the studio. And I'm coming back on this camera with more talk on the laws of polarity. Again, I have a video that I'm going to go over, chakras and psychedelics. That will be probably a longer video, but as I'm staying on the laws of polarity, because it's so important to stay in that middle point, to not debate, to not argue, to not pick a side, to not fall into any of the polarization dialectics that they have for you to fall into. A polarization dialectic. Some words, some ideas, some concepts that you side with, that you believe with, and now you're polarized on this end of the scale, rather than being in the middle point of understanding and seeing all sides, knowing that it's manipulated and constructed for you to fall into and vote or pick a side or be willing to die, argue, or fight for in the first place. I get under so many people's skin in person because I can always play devil's advocate and remain in that middle point and see all sides. And what I realize with most people, it's not many people on this planet. Women, yeah, but then they probably have other agendas. But men on the planet, they solemnly can come to an agreement or an understanding or a, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I also see it this way, but I accept what you're saying, and that's cool too. Most men on this planet, when you're at least at this frequency of understanding and maybe balance within your masculine and femininity, they'll always try to get you on their side in a conversation or belief or just prove to you, because that's really just how hardened most people's egos and they are in their stance. It serves you so much less to fall into it again. Your time, your energy, your attention. Now, if you're a man and you speaking with women and you get into these high, lofty concepts and ideals, they'll oftentimes be able to, huh, okay, I see, I get it. Oh, that does make sense because this, that, but then it probably just turned on because you know some shit. So learn some shit, my brother. But at the same time, don't even waste your time trying to put a man on game in life unless he's really open, receptive, and asking. That's why it always helps you to have your own platform to stand on what you stand for, because this social media world and our personal 3D world is inextricably connected at this point in time in humanity. I love y'all, and may you never, ever, 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 ever relax. Yo, principles.